watch closely. Perhaps you will see yourself up there on the stage, maybe as a face in the crowd, or perhaps even in Zacchaeus himself. Because Zacchaeus was a tax collector who worked for Rome, and he did his job too well. He had become a rich man and was getting richer all the time. You see, Zacchaeus had it all worked out. In those days, tax collectors didn't work for a salary or set wage. Rather, they were paid a percentage of the taxes they collected. Zacchaeus found that by simply adjusting 1 or 2 decimal points here and changing a figure there, he was able to tax each citizen of Jericho just slightly more than that citizen's fair share. Then Zacchaeus pocketed the difference plus his fair percentage of the tax. It was a neat scheme, maybe a little dishonest, but then nobody really got hurt, and besides, all the other tax collectors were doing the same thing. One of the reasons that Zacchaeus was so unpopular was that the townspeople knew exactly what was going on, but what could they do? Zacchaeus was the chief tax collector, and as far as taxes were concerned, he had the final word.
It's not easy at best to like a tax collector.
Even if he's honest and fair and friendly and truly understanding.
Even then, you have to try pretty hard to really like your tax collector. But when that tax collector's mean,
Like a school bully,
hard,
like a dog catcher,
a tax bill,
like a teacher's pet,
cheap, large deal,
and collaborating with the president and the government.
what does that mean?
What does it sound like?
Not good.
Right.
Now we're talking about
Zacchaeus because he was one of the finest, most enterprising, hardworking, and dishonest tax collector for miles around. Then, one day something happened that changed all that. It was a day that began just like any other day. The tax bag which Zacchaeus carried on his rounds was filling up fast. It was going to be a good day. But little did Zacchaeus know just how good it was going to be. From out of nowhere, a rumor began to circulate through the town. It seemed that Jesus of Nazareth was making a long journey to Jerusalem, and he would soon be passing through Jericho on his way.
What's the good word?
Out of nowhere, crowds of people began lining the streets, waiting for Jesus to arrive. There was great excitement in the air. Zacchaeus was busy counting the collections for the day when he heard all the commotion. So he went to find out what was going on. When he discovered that it was Jesus coming, he wanted to see too. But there was one big problem, or perhaps I should say one small problem. You see, Zacchaeus was a rather short man, and he couldn't see over the crowds. And because he was not well liked, no one was about to give an inch to let him squeeze through. So being the enterprising and clever man he was, Zacchaeus worked out a solution to the problem in his own way.
Sycamore, 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 sycamore.
Can you imagine the people's excitement? Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth, right there in their hometown of Jericho. They couldn't keep their enthusiasm to themselves. They talked and sang and danced. Couldn't believe what they were seeing. Out of all that crowd of good and righteous people, Jesus wanted to talk to Zacchaeus, the tax collector. At first, they must have hoped that Jesus was going to scold Zacchaeus for being the rotten person he was. But then came the biggest shock of all. Jesus told Zacchaeus that he wanted to stay in his home, to eat with his family, to sleep under his roof. But of course, that must have upset the townspeople. Wouldn't it have upset you? But can you imagine what it must have been going on inside Zacchaeus? The townspeople were confused, angry, and beginning to become very critical of how Jesus was acting. After all, Jesus was supposed to be a man of God, and men of God concerned themselves a great deal with remaining clean. Anyone with any common sense knew that the easiest way to become unclean would be to associate with a sinner, especially to eat with one. And as far as the townspeople were concerned, Zacchaeus was one of the worst sinners around.
Look at the company he keeps. Just look at the company he keeps. He can't be a Messiah, nor is he a sinner. The Son of God and people, careful where he is dinner. He has a kind of loyalty and others who are winners. Like, well, like,
day for Zacchaeus. What a day for Jericho. Imagine what joy the townspeople felt when they saw the change in Zacchaeus. First, he began giving half of everything he owned to the poor. Then he paid everyone he had cheated 4 times as much as he had taken by overcharging them. Something wonderful happened that day 2,000 years ago when Jesus invited himself into Zacchaeus' life. Zacchaeus became a new man. His life was transformed. Even though the story happened 2,000 years ago, Jesus continues to invite himself into people's lives. All we need do is accept the invitation and welcome him as Zacchaeus did. When we do, we too will know the peace of God that comes flowing into our lives like a river. Go in peace. And may the peace of Christ go with you.